Welcome, everyone. My name is Behrakis, THI Executive Committee member, and I'd love to welcome you all this afternoon and evening in Greece to discuss one of the most interesting, I think, aspects of supporting Patria in Greece, but also an asset class that is certainly one of the most important around the world, and that's investing in real estate. And with us today is three wonderful people that we'll have discussing various aspects of real estate markets in Greece and their role and so forth. I want to thank obviously our staff and the thousands of supporters from around the globe today who are supporting our work, and we'd like to thank you for joining us today. We've affiliated chapters in the UK, Australia, and Canada, and we support promising entrepreneurs and startups and effective nonprofits in both Greece and Cyprus. THI has provided humanitarian relief, as you know, through the beginning and the end of the economic crisis, and we continue on through the COVID pandemic, responding the last 2 years to the unique challenges that have faced Greece. And to date, we've distributed well over $19 million in direct grants and an equal amount in direct support. As we always try to convey, our mission is really quite simple, and that's to connect the diaspora with Greece in ways that are obviously valuable for both the Greek state and its people, but also the diaspora around the world. And that's obviously helping Hellenes in need and investing in the new Greece. Purchasing property, whether it's a vacation home or an investment income, is another way of building a bridge between the diaspora and Greece. And today's talk will hopefully give you some information on how to navigate the marketplace in Greece, the best way to do that, and also to manage expectations. Because as I'm stating the obvious, anytime you leave your mother country to invest in any type of asset, you're going to need the assistance and the expertise of people on the ground. And it's important to have that connection. So I briefly want to introduce our three wonderful guests today, and then I'll let them speak for themselves. First, Elina Paraskevopoulou from Paraskevopoulou and Company Attorneys. She's one of Greece's foremost real estate attorneys, has been working with a number of clients overseas that have invested in Greece, so she will offer a great perspective for those of you that are looking to either consider an investment in Greece or want to learn more. So, Elina, thank you. We also have with us Antonis Markopoulos, the CEO and co-founder of Prosperty, Antonis's company has created one of the hottest new platforms for locating and purchasing property in Greece, and he'll walk us through what that's all about and how we can get as much information at our fingertips, regardless of where we reside. And finally, Evgenios Dendrinos, the real estate director of TEMES and Costa Navarino. Obviously, it goes without saying, one of Greece's most revered and talked about property developers, starting off in the southwestern Peloponnese at Costa Navarino, and then to the work that they're doing and will continue to do at the Hilton in Athens, and also in the former airport of Hellenic. So thank you for the three of you for joining us. I will start and turn it over first to Elina. Elina, please introduce yourself and let us know the work of your firm and the focus of today's topic for you. Thank you.
First, thank you, Drake. It's a great pleasure, first of all, and an honor to be with you and amongst such distinguished professionals. Almost 20 years attorney, acting mainly in real estate business, as a second generation of a law office that has been providing legal and notarial services to individuals and legal entities in the sector of real estate for over 50 years. And we've been working very closely with the Greek diaspora, both in the United States and around the globe, for over 30 years. So you understand, from almost 50, 60 years of experience in the real estate sector, we've seen all the ups and downs and how the Greek real estate market has evolved, obviously from the legal aspect, but at the same time, from the commercial and business aspect of it. It is indeed a fact that lately the real estate in Greece has, after a lot of turbulence coming from the financial recession that Greece went through, a lot of trouble. It is going up, and with a lot of potential, as obviously the other two panelists are going to extensively talk about. And the most important thing in all this is to make sure, especially for somebody who wants to invest and coming from abroad, that they understand the legal procedure and how they can be protected. There are so many questions addressed, basically because it's a different jurisdiction. So people they might not even know the legal procedure in their own countries, let alone in a different jurisdiction. And this is something that we definitely guide everybody through in detail so that they feel safe and sleep well in the other side of the globe.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elina. And we're going to dig in very deep on that because of, as you said, first and foremost, and you're probably the first person or someone like yourself is the first person that a foreigner who doesn't understand the lay of the land in any country is going to look for obviously a legal expert to help them maneuver through the different individual unique country aspects of ownership and property and so forth. So thank you. Antonis, tell us a little bit about your background and obviously the work that Prosperty is doing and how you've been able to kind of disrupt the marketplace with regards to the buying and selling of real estate in Athens and beyond.
Sure, thanks. First of all, let me thank you, THI, for giving me the opportunity to talk about the digitization of real estate in Greece, and you personally, Greg, for moderating this very interesting discussion. So Prosperty is a PropTech company. PropTech stands for property technology. So we have in our DNA technology and data, offering a unique experience, customer experience for real estate. We saw a few years ago, we started the company 2 years ago, and we saw a huge gap how the traditional real estate works in Greece, but in the region. Let's talk about Greece today. So we thought that it's an enormous opportunity to build something to offer a more digital experience to the end customer. So what Prosperty is about? Prosperty is a platform that gives an integrated solution to a customer trying to buy an asset in Greece. Starting from verified listings. So in our portfolio of assets right now, we have almost in a year of operation, we have 3,000 of assets under our own portfolio. We are doing the verification of data. So we send our engineer there to verify the data. We are collecting and digitizing the documentation of the property, and this is very important. So we have the whole documentation with us. And then after the verification of data, we offer an end-to-end service to the customer, starting from the viewing management, that we're trying to do that in a very digital way. Of course, we do have also offline operations and support to our customer. The offer management that you can easily see the property and you can make an offer directly to the seller, even if you are sitting overseas. And then, of course, the most important thing, the closing and the transaction management. And this is very important. So we offer a unique experience, a 360 experience, covering legal, engineering, and notarial services. So giving, in a sense that in the US, like a title insurance service, that we can guarantee the transaction for the end customer. So this is the first phase of our operation. As I told you, we have a portfolio of 3,000 assets. We do have 50 people on the ground right now. So we started 4 of us, and now we're 50 people. We have raised some significant amount of money from VCs, and we're growing quite fast. And we are determined that we are going to build an ecosystem offering also additional services. So in a few months from now, we will also initiate for the first time in the country the digital mortgage journey and service. This is very important. The Greek banks have opened also the possibility for foreign tax residents to get a mortgage in Greece. So we have a cooperation with them. So again, we are building an ecosystem of services. Data are very, very important for our business. So even if we do not have an MLS system in Greece, we are building a virtual MLS as a company. So eventually we know every single property that is being under selling right now in Greece. So this gives us the opportunity to compare assets, to give the right advice to the customer, how the prices are going out there, how you can compare an asset to some other assets, and many more things regarding data. I'm very pleased to have this discussion today, providing a new phrase saying that things are changing in Greece, not only from macroeconomic perspective that we're covering after a deep recession of the year, but also new things are coming in the market, and Prosperty is one of those things. We're here to save the future of real estate market in Greece.
Thank you very much, Antonis, and bravo, Sikaritiria, for your company's early success, and good luck in the future. Evgenios, please, I think you've got the good fortune, obviously. I think a lot of people understand and know and have heard about Costa Navarino, and as someone that's been there several times, I know what a wonderful resort and what a wonderful project it's been. But there's more to the company, as we know, and you're the director of real estate for the sale of the homes and villas at the Costa Navarino, but also with the project here at the Hilton in Athens. So tell us a little bit about your background as well as what you're working on right now.
Thank you, Drake. On my side as well, it's a great honor to participate in this talk. I'm very happy to provide information to people abroad that are looking to the real estate market in Greece. In my role in TEMES, which is the developer of Costa Navarino, I'm responsible within the group for the development and marketing, sales, and construction of all residential real estate we do. Our flagship project is Costa Navarino, which is basically the prime sustainable destination in the Mediterranean. It's situated in southwest Peloponnese. It's developed on land which is around 1,000 hectares, and it will comprise of 5 distinct mixed-use resort destinations. Our company, TEMES, has also expanded its activities in Athens with the redevelopment of a new city destination in the old Hilton location, and also through its agreements with Lambda in Hellenic to develop the 2 beachfront hotels there, which will also include residential components. The journey in Costa Navarino started on very solid foundation, on a value-based foundation from its founder, the captain, Markopoulos, with the aim to bring Messinia into the local map and to basically develop a destination that was new at the time. Through that journey, we have managed to successfully guide our initial basically visitors, our hotel visitors, to become future homeowners. And we've been very fortunate to have had a lot of success in the past years, with more than 250 million euros of sales in the last 5 years in all kinds of second home residential real estate, ranging from apartments to fully customized villas, and of course, turnkey projects that we deliver to our customers. The aim and our focus is basically to deliver houses that are doorways to unique experiences and services, because at the end of the day, somebody looking for a second home in Greece is of course placing value in the location, in sustainability, and in creating experiences and experience for him and his loved ones. So that's what we do here in Costa Navarino.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next phase of the webinar today will be, I will speak with each of our panelists and just have a little bit of a roundtable discussion. And then we'll, in about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes or so, we'll open up to our audience, both on Zoom and Facebook, to, we've already received a few questions here and there, to answer questions that people may have specifically for either one of you or for the group as a total. So let me begin. Let me go back and start with Elina. Elina, for somebody that has obviously little or no experience with real estate in Greece, and they want to either they inherit a property, let's say from a relative, or they're looking to purchase a property for the first time. Give us a sense of what type of services they will need to begin that process, for them to obviously be sure that the process itself is safe for them. They're comfortable with it. Try to minimize the risks behind. Obviously, anytime you entertain any type of real estate transaction, there's always there's risks involved, and it's just a question sometimes of getting as much information as you can. But you need help. You need people that are on the ground like yourself, and other experts that can help you with your analysis and due diligence. So speak to us a little bit about that, of what that entails, how that process works.
Okay, so you identify, obviously, first of all, a property, which is interesting. We need to underline then that in Greece, the brokers, the real estate agents, do not have the same role as people might be used in the foreign countries, in terms of that they usually act only as a reference between the seller and the buyer. So then from then on, usually they bring the two parts into some kind of a communication, let's say, but this is where usually us lawyers step in, as we tend in the Greek reality to act also as the coordinators of the whole deal. It's not only the legal procedure that we take over, but it's the coordination, between the parties that are involved, which are apart from the seller himself, probably a lawyer that is representing them, and the notary, which is of a significant part in the real estate transactions, the engineers that need to be involved for the technical due diligence, et cetera, so that the whole procedure and the legal steps are properly and time-wise efficiently met to the final closing and the signing. Now, the real estate in Greece is only, the transfer of ownership in Greece is only by notarial deed. The notaries in Greece have a different role than the ones that are abroad, and especially in the Anglo-Saxon legal systems, as the USA and Australia and UK, for example. We have a European law basic system, which the notary is a public server, and the contracts are public documents. This means that, first of all, it's a safer, let's say, document with regards to the real estate transaction, and it's a notary, a role which is very important. Now, when you start the whole legal procedure, the most important is to start with the legal check. Usually they don't understand what the legal check exactly means. When we say mortgage, let's say, for example, in Greece, it's not just going to the bank and get a loan. The mortgage in Greece is the collateral that is given as security to the lenders, to banks, to whoever lends money, so that they get security out of their claim on the property, which means that the lien, the encumbrance, follows the asset. So if a proper legal check hasn't been conducted, there's the danger that you obtain eventually a property that may have mortgages like encumbrances or confiscations, or there might be a problem in the line of the title deed that would endanger the proper transfer of the ownership. This is the most important thing to start with, and to see, let's say, in the first phase, the legal check. After that, as a buyer, I always recommend that an engineer steps in and makes a proper technical due diligence. It is a fact that now we have huge delays in the real estate transactions, and this goes to the question that everybody asks, how long it will take. Nobody knows at the end of the day. On an average of 2 to 3 months, everything goes well, but the experience has showed us that when we get into the actual transaction, because of being into this transitional period of trying to resolve all the issues that have burdened the real estate for all these years in Greece, and this includes constructions in the property that were not provided by the building permit, for example, or the starting of the operation of the national cadastre, which also was not in Greece. It was also only the land registry, which meant that you could find out who had what, but not vice versa. What is owned by whom, which is also very important. So all this procedure is now a bit more burdened, let's say, by the fact that we need to have certificates from the engineer testing that everything is legal. The majority of the buyers don't take the time also to engage an engineer to double check. I strongly recommend this because there's been a numerous of cases that the proper engineer, something left out, something was not proper in the certificate. Not that they're not doing their job correctly, but in so many laws that are interfere right now with regards to resolving the problems of the real estate that we had for years, there are, let's say, different interpretations. But these are things that need to be taken into account. So afterwards, the seller has to proceed to provide, to the notary, a range of documentations. The transfer tax then takes place, which is an obligation of the buyer at approximately 3.09%. And when everything is ready, we sign the final deed of the transaction. It's registered at the land registry, and you're a proud owner of a property in Greece. It sounds complicated usually when you're not used to that. The good part is that by a power of attorney, somebody else can sign and do all this procedure on behalf of the buyer. The good part also is that there are tools when there's a lot of time that needs to take place in order to finalize the deal, that the eventual, let's say, reality of the sale can take place, either by a pre-contract that would either give the use, and in between we can work towards the closing of the contract, or by other clauses in the contract that us real estate lawyers know how to do it. But all in all, it's we need to recognize to this complexity, let's say, and time-consuming procedures that nowadays we're facing, is that at the end of the day, it's the safest period in terms of the real estate transactions. The National Cadastre is going to operate, and after that, let's say in the next 10 years, it's going to be a lot simpler and a lot safer for investors, people who already have property in Greece. I think there was too much information to digest, but I'm.
No, this is great. That's great. And we're receiving a number of questions, which I will get to once we conclude this moderated round. But I do have one follow-up. Obviously, a lot of discussion, Elina, we've heard about golden visas and people becoming eligible for Greek residency, not citizenship, but residency through the golden visa program. Can you just briefly explain to us, if you are a dual citizen of Greece and another country versus a golden visa holder, or somebody that has no passport or citizenship at all in Greece, how that affects the ownership of a property, whether it's acquiring a property or inheriting a property that may fall into somebody's lap?
Well, in terms of buying a property or owning a property in Greece, it doesn't matter whether you have the Greek citizenship or not. Any foreigner can buy, with some restrictions that are with regards to some border described areas where you need a special permit from the ministry and the Greek state to be able to buy. But other than that, there aren't actual restrictions with regards to the citizenship or to where you come from. The golden visa, as we call it, which is actually a 5 years residency that can be given to individuals or entities under some circumstances, if they acquire a property above 250,000 euros. The difference is that they have the right to stay in Greece and to travel within the Schengen area as well. So it's like a European passport in a way. But other than that, in the procedure of obtaining a real estate property per se, it does not affect it. If you have the Greek citizenship, you are called to buy, let's say, with your Greek identity, which comes number one when it comes to the Greek tax authorities and the Greek state. What is necessary for everybody is to issue a tax number, which is the first thing that you need to do to be able to do any transaction in Greece, not just buying. Anything that you need to appear before the Greek state, you need a tax number. And this also can be issued by a power of attorney. It's not something that they have to come here.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Elina. Antonis, tell us a little bit about how folks can go about looking for property in Greece from afar and get a better understanding of what the market's like and how to find properties specifically to acquire. I think, let me just say this, I think it would be completely unfair for us to sit here. You did mention MLS as something you're in the process of building. You know, every country is unique in terms of what types of systems and processes are in place. So, you know, I think when you make an appropriate comparison, I think people here in the States understand what MLS is and what that is. But as you go through your discussion, tell us a little bit about where there's opportunities as well as you know, where the marketplace itself needs to provide you with more accurate data as it relates to sales and information like that. Because as we know, you know, the Greek government has made a major commitment to digitizing across the board, the entire country. But there are areas where some folks, whether they're in Canada or the US or elsewhere, may not be, that information may not be readily available to them like it may be here in the States, where we may have like a Zillow or other type of property searches or databases. So explain to us your process and how you can help people and obviously some of the issues that they may face looking at going through your website and so forth.
Definitely, Greg, thank you. First of all, you know, as Elina talked, there are risks. And here comes the opportunity, you know, how a platform, how the technology can minimize the risk. The risk cannot be eliminated, but it certainly can be minimized. So this is how we started Prosperty. We started Prosperty by the idea how we can offer, first of all, a marketplace out there for someone to look for verified listings. What we mean by verified listing is that, you know, instead of searching the classifieds like Zillow, we do have 2 classifieds in Greece. It's called Skytoratos and Evgenios, but the model is that the traditional real estate agents, they're uploading their properties there, and you look for properties. Instead of doing that, it's obvious there's a need in order to look for verified property. So we, as Prosperty, send our own engineer there to take a look, to inspect the property, to create a very nice inspection report that you can publicly see in our platform with all the details of the property, of the neighborhood, of the building, of the property, general, a lot of data that comes with a listing. So first of all, we need to have, you know, to give transparency and to give the confidence to the buyer that what you see is what you are looking is what you see. What you see is what it is. So this is what we do on the first hand. So we doing also some legal due diligence prior to the listing. This is very important because we need to promote properties that can be sold. It's not a very good experience to look for a property, to like a property, and eventually, you know, after months of investigation, to understand that you cannot buy it. So all these things that Elina told you before, we are doing that beforehand. So all the properties that we do have in our own portfolios are properties that can be sold. I'm not saying that we resolve all the issues beforehand, but we do have the mechanism, and we know beforehand what it might be wrong with a property. So this is one part of our services. The second part is, of course, how we can run the closing process. So even if you come in Greece and you want to visit some properties, when you go back in the States, you need to have an application you have. You need to have an access to follow up with the process real time, where the process is. Has the engineer finished the technical due diligence? Has the lawyer finished with the legal due diligence? So we give a very nice experience to the buyer side in order to follow the process real time. This is very important because transparency means a lot for people, transparency of the process. Even if there is a delay on the national cadastre, they need to know what kind of delay it is. Of course, in order to digitize the whole process, Prosperty cannot do that by itself. The government needs to do a lot of things in order to digitize, the land registry, the cadastre, and other public authorities. But as a minimum service to our customer, we want to offer the process transparency. So regarding the data, Drake, just to clarify what we mean by the virtual MLS. There are a lot of data out there that are not, as I told you before, verified. So we're trying to gather a lot of data. There are a lot of multiple listings out there. So a property might be listing on 5, 6 different sources. And probably a lot of times with different even prices. So you don't know what is happening. We're trying to unify the listings, to gather all the listings in the Greek territory, and to make a unique data warehouse that all the listings are going to be just once. So we are, taking all the data from the market. We are comparing those data with the official data that comes from the government. There is a site right now, there's a website that provides official data from the government. We're trying to normalize the data. Of course, you need to know, and everyone in the audience needs to know that the price that you see out there, it's the asking price. And the difference between the asking price and the actual transaction price at the moment in Greece might be 50–20% less, because the culture of the Greek seller says, I'm selling a specific property for 100,000, but let's list it for 125 or 130 in order to be able to negotiate. So again, we are able to gather the data, to compare the listing data, the actual asking prices with the asking price with the actual transactional price, and to normalize and to understand what is the trend in the market. On top of that, we know, since we do have a marketplace, we have more than 150,000 visitors every month. So a lot of people trying they're looking for property. So we understand where the demand is. And this is very important, again, to see where the opportunity for investment is. So that's why we're able to advise our customer that they're looking to buy, which are the hot areas, not only because of the prices, comparing the actual price of the market, but also the demand side data. So this is pretty much what we're trying to do regarding the digitization of the processes.
And I think it's safe to say any real estate transaction, regardless of what country it is in, at the end of the day, it comes down to the appetite and the risk tolerance of the buyer, what their goals are, what they plan on doing with the property. Is it personal use? Is it investment only? Is a mix of both? Are they building a portfolio? At the end of the day, even in countries where all the information, or most of the information is available, it still comes down to the buyer making an educated decision. And so even though you could sit here and say that there's certain information that may not be readily available as it may be in other countries, it's still at the end of the day, you make a decision based on your risk tolerance and what you see in the assets. And so I think a lot of the information you're providing is making it as helpful for someone as possible, regardless of where you are.
Yeah, correct, Greg. And just to say a few words here, we're trying to, again, to provide an end-to-end service. Trying to look for a property is one thing. Knowing that everything is okay regarding the property is the second thing. How easily you can sign a contract is the third thing. So we, as Prosperty, we're offering, again, a 360 service. What Elina told you before regarding the legal need, the need for a lawyer, the need for engineer, the compulsory service of a notary can be offered through the Prosperty service as well. So we want to offer, and this is something that we will announce quite soon, a guarantee of the transaction. So to make our customer feeling that, if you buy from a platform, of course, it's not only the platform, we have actual people on the ground. We have agents for viewings. We're doing actual things on the ground. So it's not only the digital aspect of Prosperty, we need to provide this guarantee to the people to make them feel that we can offer them, experience that it can go up to the, let's say, the transfer of the title under their name in the land registry. This is what the people are looking, a 360 service, not just a listing sites with some property and then the whole other process to be offline.
And just to clarify, you're offering this platform. You don't necessarily do brokerage at all, do you?
We, as brokerage, mean?
Real estate broker, real estate, you do?
No, we are a digital broker. We are similar to US market. We operate like Redfin.
Redfin, okay, perfect. That explains it. Excellent.
Like Compass. There are a lot of platforms that we have gone through. We have reviewed them, throughout the recent years. We have taken the good example of the platforms. So we are a mix of lead generation from Zillow, and we are doing also the actual brokerage, the digital brokerage service. But again, it's not about the listing that Compass does. It's also about the closing, and this is very important. We go up to the closing.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Evgenios, with regarding folks that want to buy investment income generating property in Greece, buying something turnkey, which you're a lot of experience. So tell us a little bit about that marketplace, the attraction of buying turnkey, and in your experience, what some of the things you would recommend to prospective buyers.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely, in the past years, towards the end of the crisis and beyond, we have seen a very significant increase in demand for high-end properties in Greece. The reason being that Greece as a country in general has been underdeveloped compared to other countries and still has unique locations that are completely unspoiled but yet easily accessible. Costa Navarino is one of the most characteristic examples. And also because it is a safe environment within the European Union, and it can be accessible throughout the globe. That has led into a market, the creation of a market of assets, in our case, second home assets that can be rented out at very good prices and create a very healthy income for their owners. In Costa Navarino, we have taken that concept and made and integrated all around. So we started off with kicking off a destination which features currently 4 golf courses and 2 Marriott hotels, and will feature very shortly a W hotel and a Mandarin Oriental hotel. So we're adding to that experience of the owner, but also the visitor of Costa Navarino. And we are basically creating unique sets of experiences so that the whole family and the members of that family can have an excellent time. That creates the conditions within safety and excellent service to leverage on one's investment in a second home. So in the past, what we've seen in Greece, is particularly from 2016 onwards, is a steep increase in pricing of prime holiday homes across Greece. Also like in places like Antiparos or Crete or the Kyklades Island, northern Greece, the Peloponnese, and of course Costa Navarino. And we see that in our case in Costa Navarino, the main stream of investors is from Central Europe, Greeks of the diaspora, of course, that are coming back to their country and would like to have ideal conditions for theirs and their family. And of course, some people from the Middle East, which are easily connected to our location. So when purchasing properties like that, I think it's very important. First of all, as we say, it is usually you start off with a developer. So you're trying to find something that is well organized so that it's well maintained, and it provides for capabilities to actually leverage your investment. You would like ideally to have a partner in the form of a very big developer who's also co-investing in the destination, marketing the destination, and effectively working for your property. So that's, I think, the first thing that one would need to look at. Buying in organized environments, and in Greece now we have a lot of projects in that sense, makes things easier because it's more transparent. Usually the issues with land the zoning and so forth is all addressed. And of course, you are talking to developers that are predominantly talking to foreign investors, and they are set up to cater that demand in a professional and efficient way. So they can take you in a 360, as Adonis said, journey of actually identifying the property that suits one's needs, taking him through the whole transaction process, but also providing the services of facility maintenance and other services required once one purchases a property. And then there is about aesthetics, the location, what one likes in terms of scenery, in terms of, in the case of Greeks abroad, especially in the US, we have also strong affiliations with people that want to come back to their home country, and depending on where their family comes from, they have, you know, a stronger bond and urge to find a property close to them. So in Messinia, which is an area that has been fortunate to have a lot of people abroad, we see a lot of people coming back to invest in Messinia. And then it's about meeting the people, going to the location and understanding the quality of the people you have on the other side that would provide the service of either selling you a property or developing a property for you. Because sometimes it's a journey. For instance, in our case, we have a lot of properties that are fully customized, and that's a journey for each one of our customers. He has particular attention from our engineering and customer care teams that will take him through a journey to develop his home. And finally, it's about, of course, location and the fact of identifying opportunities within those locations. So in the case of second homes, of course, views and amenities are very important. Proximity to the sea is also very, very important. But also very important is to check that the infrastructure is there to support one's property, because out of city planning residences also have some challenges with regards to infrastructure and so forth. These are some of the things that we see also and are addressed to us as questions from our owners. Finally, I think reputable projects have very good access to bank financing, and especially when you have a revenue producing asset, you can achieve financing structures that are very attractive for foreign investors.
And one follow-up for you, Evgenios, I've seen a number of questions come along for folks that obviously for your property specifically that you develop. Do you provide property management maintenance services to those
yes.
folks after they close on the transaction?
Yes. Exactly. So the way we treat a property after we've delivered it effectively, because we close the transaction, develop the property, and then of course deliver it, is basically view it as inventory of a hotel. So we have all the backbone of, for instance, Opera, which is the booking system that we have for our hotels operating on our properties. One has all the services provided to that property so that we can take care everything on the property, and then also provide all services that we provide to hotel guests to the properties as well, from catering and concierge services to organizing events and transportation and what have you. So for us, it's a very round experience, and one where we're focusing to take all the nuisance away from the owners and give them more time with their family and their loved ones.
Thank you. Well, I'm slowly, and I know I want to thank obviously some of you. You're responding directly to some of the questions here on chat and the Q&A feature. So I know Antonis has been active as well. So thank you. A couple questions we're getting. This is probably for you, Elina, with regards to. Do you need to set up any type of specific entity if you're buying a property in Greece as a foreigner, as a U.S. citizen, let's say? What's the legal structure you need to create? And are there any issues with transferring funds in order to purchase the property?
Well, you don't need to have a legal entity to start with, but this has to do with a general business plan that somebody has as an entrepreneur or investor in Greece. This means that some people choose the legal entity because probably they have a number of properties that they want to acquire. So it's a portfolio that they practically want to build. And a legal entity tax-wise is better to a certain extent, and also is convenient to the further transfer of the property, because you end up transferring your shares, for example, of the property, of the legal entity, instead of going through the procedure again of the notarial expenses and land registry registrations. So it's a quite useful tool for acquiring property in Greece when this extends to more than 1, 2, or 3 properties. If somebody's buying just 1 or 2, buying as an individual might be better tax-wise again. But even at that, everybody should take into consideration that up to 3 properties, if you sell within the next 2 years, you are considered an individual. If it's 3 and more, you will be taxed as an entrepreneur, which again is not the best scenario. Again, both ways have their pros and cons. So it definitely has to be on the case and how many properties has somebody already wants to acquire, the general business plan, if this is for renting out, renovating and renting, if it is for keeping it like forever. So these are questions that in each case per se have to be answered to finally decide how someone should buy.
I want to go back to Evgeny with the question with regards. Obviously, I think it goes without saying we all heard the stories of Costa Navarino going through the permitting process and what that entailed. And based on your work today, and let's not look at the past. Let's look at the current landscape. Things like zoning and enforcement of zoning issues or those types of things. What's your sense in terms of how folks, because I think there's always, as you do your due diligence, you're looking at the zoning of a specific property, you're looking at the neighborhood you're in, you're looking at any issues that may arise either legally or through engineering. But in terms of enforcement of zoning, and I'm sure it'd be completely different if you're in Athens or in Thessaloniki versus if you're in a remote village. But tell us a little bit about your experiences.
Yeah. So we have been very fortunate that we're developing most of our properties within already zoned locations called integrated tourism development areas. And that's the first time that that type of zoning was implemented in Greece. For that type of zoning to be applicable, you need to have land that's more than 800,000 square meters at least. And it goes through the Greek parliament and it basically becomes Greek legislation. What that does effectively is that it takes out all the risk of whether that land is buildable, whether you can develop basically what you envision there. Zoning is very important, and we have a number of projects now in Greece that are being developed under similar or same zoning regimes. That provides a lot of security for potential investors. As an example, in our case, in all transactions we do for properties that are sold off-plan, either as plots to be developed as customized villas or as properties that are delivered turnkey, we give a money-back guarantee in case anything happens with regards to licensing and or issues of land. So that creates a very big sense of security to people coming from abroad, because they don't really have to go into all the details and so forth. Of course, we have due diligence packages that are extensive if one would like to go through and have a look, but we basically are in a privileged position to offering a security against their money in case anything happens. Nothing, of course, has happened, and we can develop everything as planned. I read also a question from Frank Mortari with regards to timing. Now I'm coming back to the authorities and how they're reacting to a significant increase in demand for new licenses and also development in Greece on the backside of 10 years of stagnation, effectively. So there are big steps being made in digitization. As an example, we now submit all building permits digitally. And our architects and engineers submit those digitally. What that does effectively, it maintains a very strict priority list now because it's all transparent. And of course, you already have a very good view of if you've supplied all documents in the form that you should have supplied them, because you get very quickly a heads up that your application is complete. Then onwards, once you go through the first phase, which is the pre-approval, the process is quite quick. What we still lack on, and of course is being implemented, is that the capacity of local building authority offices is still limited. So in areas outside of Athens, you might have some delay because suddenly they need to go through a lot of work compared to the past, and the recruiting for those locations has not followed the rate of increase of demand for new licenses, for example. But our experience is that although we have also experienced delays at times, that the reaction times are reasonable, and in any case, it's a very transparent process now, and you can inquire about the status of your application and so forth.
Thank you. Thank you. Antonis, there's been a few questions with regards to, and Evgenios touched a little bit upon, you obtaining information for your platform for a property in Athens is going to be probably a much different than if somebody lists a property, let's say, where my grandfather was from, which is, the Southern Peloponnese and Laconia Mani. So how, someone that's looking to buy, let's say, a property in in grandfather's old village or so forth. I guess what advice would you offer them? Because obviously the digitization may have not reached that level yet, and it's much more localized. And so obviously having a strong person like Elina by your side and having local knowledge is extremely helpful. But what advice could you give, or what areas of focus can you help people in those regards?
It's a very interesting question, Greg, and thanks for that. First of all, Prosperty started 18 months ago. We have a portfolio of assets in Athens, Thessaloniki, on our islands, and we're expanding. We're expanding quite fast. So as I told you before, we're trying to collect data not only for those big cities and the hot areas, let's call it, but for the whole country. So at a minimum level, we're able to provide an advice on the prices, let's say, on the data and the prices, even on a smaller city on the countryside of the country. Prosperty, we are building the capacity with local people in order also to expand and to act as the digital broker on that area. So definitely, as a minimum, we can help people to compare things. Second, and most important thing, since we know every single property that is being out for selling on those, even on those areas, we can match the preference with the criteria that we're getting from our customer with every single property out there. That's why we call it the virtual MLS. So we do have the data warehouse with all the properties. So even if we do not have a property that matches your criteria, we can suggest you which kind of properties might match. Another thing that I would like here to add, Drake, is that, which is relevant to what you're saying. In order to buy an asset in Greece, it's not only the retail market, because a lot of people they know about the retail market and the individual sellers. There is a huge market, and I think it's worth to mention about that it's coming in Greece and has to do about the non-performing loans market. Okay, in Greece we do have 90 billion euro of non-performing loans. It's about 250,000 properties that are going to be commercialized, sold in the next 5 to 7 years. Out of the funds that they came in Greece, they bought NPL portfolios and they are going to sell massively. So this is a very interesting market. Even if for you that you are looking to buy on that specific region of Greece, there are going to be tens of thousands of assets that are going to be commercialized through the official auctioning process. And this is also something that we, Prosperity, also offer. For those people that are not looking to buy the newly built beautiful assets that Evgenios and his great team are developing, but more like distressed assets, if you're looking to buy opportunities that needs to reconstruct, innovate it, and then to be offered in the rental market, this is also a very interesting opportunity that a lot of our friends that are listening today, they need to know.
And will those, I guess, essentially auction items, will they be on one specific site, or will the banks be also selling them off as different tranches to institutional buyers as well?
yeah, you can buy individual assets. I don't know if this is a question, or a portfolio of assets to go. Eventually, again, the funds, the private equity funds that they came, and we have a lot of US funds that they came recently and they invested heavily to acquire the NPL portfolios from the Greek banks. Eventually, they're going to commercialize the assets. So again, for those that are looking to buy a bargain, a very good bargain, in Athens, Thessaloniki, on our islands, plots, buildings, apartments, this is going to be a very interesting market. And the auction is a very formal process that the government sets. So it's a very secure process. It's being done through the notary. It's a very safe, with few risks. There's no risk in the auction. And when you're buying a property out of the auction process, is free of any legal issues. So there are a lot of pros on that process.
Before I jump over to Elina, because she wants to add some comments, Antonis, does your platform also provide historical or research data of marketplaces or trends in certain market areas, or is that something that you would have to go to either a major real estate entity or firm that provide that?
We do not have announced it publicly yet, but we do have now a solution. It's going to be a service. We are calling a marketability report. So whoever is looking to buy an asset on a very specific area or even neighborhood, you can see the liquidity of the market, the current liquidity of the market, how many assets are out there, the historical prices of the market, both on sales and rental, and a lot of different kind of parameters, like how many assets are per specific floor, let's say for apartments, how many assets are apartments, how many assets are detached, maisonette. So you could see a lot of different data in order for you, even again, living in Boston or in San Francisco or in New York, to be able to understand the market.
Elina, please. Yes, I wanted to go back to when you asked about buying in villages and all these issues in the very interesting information, of course, Antonis provided. What is very important for everybody to understand is that all these areas, apart from locating what you like and identifying it as your dreamland, or even the roots of the ancestors, or even just a place that you want to retire, all these usually are areas that are outside of the urban zoning plan. So this is a very, very dangerous, let's say, area in terms of you need a very good legal due diligence and technical due diligence, so that they make sure, first of all, that there are no encroachments, that these are the owners, because throughout the years, and with many Greeks of the diaspora having left their inheritance issues behind, something that I always raise attention to, just it's not that complicated. And if you find somebody who can do the procedure and register everything under your name, you get out of many problems that may come in the future. So there are many issues there. There are forestry that they have to check, that there are no forests now. The forest maps are also enforced in Greece, and you can double check that. There are issues of identifying that it is indeed the owner, as I said. So to make sure there are some legal tools that you can use, from affidavits of neighbors to other necessary procedures that need to take place, which might be even with a court decision. This also applies on the islands, for example. The majority of the newly built properties are outside the urban zoning, and this needs a lot of attention so that they manage to avoid problems in the future when they want to resell, or even as a surprise to find that nothing is legal, for example. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, please, go ahead.
As I said about the inheritance and all this spending, and again, by going back to the cadastre, I want to underline the fact that now, by the end of 2022, it's the end of the first registrations deadline of the national cadastre for many areas around Greece. After that deadline, the initial registrations become final. So then the property either goes to the Greek state if the owner is unidentified, or it goes to whoever has registered the property under his name. After that, there will be limited legal protection. So please, everybody out there, just do it fast. That.
Thank you, Elina. Actually, I have a very easy question for you, Elina. You could probably pronounce it very quickly. Somebody asked, what's the Greek word for notary?
Συμβολεογράφος.
Perfect. Thank you.
From Simvuli, many say
Simvuli, right.
But it's Συμβολεογράφος. It's the one who writes the contracts.
Thank you very much. I figured we needed an easy question. You know, this is wonderful. We have maybe about 10 more minutes, so we'll go through a few more questions. But I know we're providing a lot of information, and I just want to make sure that everyone that's on live here, this will be reviewed and recorded. It's being recorded, so it'll be live on Facebook as soon as we're done, and will be posted on YouTube as well. So you'll have an opportunity to go back and get as much information, and we'll also be providing information post because we're getting a lot of wonderful questions, and certainly we won't be able to get to all of them. But just wanted to let everyone know that, again, thank you for your time as panelists, but also that the Hellenic Initiative will be providing summary and much more information at the end. Elina, question on inheritance. Do you have to be a Greek citizen, or do you have to hold a Greek passport to accept an inheritance?
No, of course not.
Nope. Okay.
You need a tax number. So the trick into the nationality, let's say, has to do with the applicable law. And this is something that I would also like to address, since we have the opportunity talking about real estate. I would suggest that when somebody goes to the country of origin, to a real estate, to an estate lawyer, who's practically somebody consulting on how to manage, to do your will, to write your will, and everything is properly settled. For some reason, usually they create a Greek will. So they come up with a will which is under the foreign jurisdiction, but concerns only the Greek assets. When we say Greek will, the Greek will is the only three types that are provided by the Greek law, that is written and registered under a notary in Greece, or written and filed in Greece. Everything else would create a problem. For this reason is why I always suggest to ask a real estate or estate lawyer in Greece for some input on how to draft your will. And the best thing is to include the Greek assets in a paragraph in the original will. When there is also a will, it resolves the problem of the applicable law, whether it would be the Greek one or the foreign one. The foreign will is being probated to the courts at the country of origin, and then a certified copy just comes over to Greece, registered at the competent court of first instance, and then from further on, it's applicable in terms of enforcing, let's say, executing the provisions. So who the heir is and what he gets, etc., etc. No, you don't need to be Greek. This obviously also applies to foreigners who do not have the Greek citizenship and obtain property in Greece. But it's an issue that I've dealt lately a lot with problems in inheritances, and it is definitely something that needs to be taken care of, especially now with the cadastre, that there are no room for mistakes, I think, anymore, due to the deadline that is coming.
I have a few more questions, and this is open to anyone. Actually, Evgeny, you mentioned before, we talked a little bit about your maintenance and property management services. For someone just looking to buy a home or a small property, are there established entities out there, or is it essentially just hiring people to help you manage or maintain a property? Versus obviously, if you're buying a significant portfolio. But for those that are just buying a vacation home or one investment property, what are the resources for maintenance?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with regards to the resources available, of course, they vary depending on where that property is. I mean, Athens and big cities, well-established organizations, also because of the explosion in Airbnb type of leasings, there has created the need to have proper property management companies that take care of assets, whether that's cleaning or maintaining or what have you. Now, in islands as well, there are in many islands established companies, smaller in size, that can provide such services, but also through the local community, depending on what kind of property one has, one can find solutions. It can be an individual providing services at a little town or village in an island, and it can be a company that provides such services, you know, in bigger islands or cities or locations outside of Athens. So definitely yes. I don't think there is one, solution fitting all. So one would have to inquire at the location where one purchases a property to, you know, explore potential solutions there.
Thank you very much. Obviously, one area that there's many areas we could have, as we've spoke about area, we could have, engineers on this call to tell us about their services and how they play an important part of the team. Obviously, a very critical area for many folks, of course, is in taxation and accounting. And so anyone that's looking to do a transaction, you know, should work with people that have experience in the local marketplace so they can better understand any issues as it relates to taxation and income, whether you're a foreign national or whether you hold a dual partnership, a dual citizenship as a citizen, and so as well. I want to actually leave it. We've obviously had numerous amounts of questions and a lot of feedback, and unfortunately we can't cover everything. But if there's anything else that any one of you would like to cover or add to today's conversation, now's the opportunity. So I'll open it up. Let's start with Antonis, if you want to close with anything specific you want to provide.
Yeah, I just want to wrap up saying that there is a great momentum for real estate in Greece. You know, Greece is recovering after the financial crisis and the deep recession that we went the last 10 years. From macroeconomic perspective, but also from microeconomic perspective, there is an opportunity for investing in real estate in Greece. Athens remains, if not the cheapest, one of the cheapest capital among EU 27. This is for sure. Even if you see the prices that are increasing, it remains one of the cheapest. There are a lot of institutional investors that have already come or they are coming in Greece to invest heavily, not only on commercial type of assets, but also on residential type of assets. There is a huge demand out there for recently renovated or recently built properties. There is not so much of a supply. So whoever managed to get a nice property to renovate it or invest on it, he or she has a very good chances for a good yield. So I think we should let people know that there are a lot of efforts from government perspective as well to help the process, to speed up the process, to make the process much more transparent. So I strongly believe that it's the right time for anyone to invest in Greece. And the results of that is going to be, shown in the future. So we as Prosperty, we will try to make it more, let's say, transparent and to make it more secure for people, either that they're willing to buy or they're willing to buy and then renting the assets back to the people. I think services like Elina that she's offering or Evgenios are of high quality, and there is a need of having experts of the real estate industry that they can offer high quality services. And I think that the market is here. The only thing is to capture the market and to capture the wave of growth.
Thank you, Antonis, and thank you for joining us. Elina, any closing comments?
Well, as I said, Greece is going through a transitional period right now, to the better, of course. out of almost 60 years of experience in providing legal services in the real estate sector, I can tell you that now is the safer that you can get towards a procedure that is of high standards, that can eventually become a very good opportunity to invest your money, a very good opportunity to go back to your roots, a very good opportunity to get the best out of what you already have. It's indeed a very happy also moment to have as the panelists and Antonis and Evgenios, professionals jumping in all this procedure would help all this. Sorry. I've lost you. You hear me?
Nope, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Thank you. That's good. Everything go with the technology. Not again. Okay. Find me. Okay. I'm turning this off. You see, traditional things are also good apart from the digital. Not offense. Okay. So, where was I? So now Greece is going through this transition. Everybody thinks that it's the Greek bureaucracy, everything, all the ideas that we have about how things work. But we're in a very good position to say that we're going towards a very good moment in the real estate, that it's only going to enhance. There are still things that need to be of attention and pitfalls that people should be very careful to avoid. The good way to go through this, to have people that you trust and work on a team basis. So, and for this reason, every time that I provide my services, I'm part of a team. I'm not just the lawyer who checks the titles and then goes back home, or just gives an opinion on how things will proceed, or just appear on the signing. It's a teamwork. It's a teamwork of many professionals that need to coordinate, and this is something that I do now as a lawyer, and I would be more than happy to have also someone as Antonis, on the brokerage side to coordinate this, apart from the legal part. It's always good to work with people who know what they do. But apart from that, until now, by being the coordinator in all this, I've seen that the most important thing is to trust. And the most important thing is, of course, to be transparent in what you do, to follow on how each person feels better and safe with their investments. Others are more conservative, others not. Others need to be updated every minute of the day. Others just need to disappear and do their own thing and just know that they have you on ground to, back their interests as best as possible. Either way, I think, the Greek real estate now is a very good opportunity and hopefully here to stay. I don't believe that this is another bubble, as some people just try to claim. Indeed, there's been investments, touristic sector is booming. There's been serious steps towards a significant investments and towards a proper, let's say, I didn't want to use the word, but a proper real estate market. Other than that, teamwork always works. So any questions further, I'm at your disposal.
Thank you. Very well said, Elina. Very well said. And Evgeny, any final thoughts?
Yeah, on my side, I'd like to say that indeed, and elaborate on what Antonis has highlighted, Greece has went through a big transition after the crisis, but it has fundamentals with regard to second homes that are unique to Europe currently. So the unique locations, their accessibility, the fact that nature is still very much present and it's underdeveloped in many areas, but also the fact that these difficulties that we have had in the past have urged us to develop very professional solutions and have developments that can very much compete with the best developments in Europe, is now making Greek second home real estate of serious development and luxury real estate a very interesting opportunity worldwide. We see that and we experience that through the huge increase in demand that we've had in the past years. and also through the profile of the people investing in Greece. Direct foreign investment only between 2020 and 2021 increased by 33%. And second homes have played a very significant role in that. So the way we view the market now is that we expect it to increase even further in the years to come. As already Antonis mentioned, still prices are higher than they were in the past, but they're very, very competitive compared to anywhere else in Europe, on the US, for a matter of fact. And we see that market growing strongly in the next, in the midterm.
Thank you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone again on behalf of the Hellenic Initiative for joining us today. I think we've accomplished our goal of providing much needed information and updates to our audience with regards to real estate investments in Greece. For those of you out there, just if you need more information, we'll be, again, providing this recorded conversation via Zoom and Facebook on our website, the Hellenic Initiative website, where you can also find a lot of information with regards to our upcoming events. We have an event in New York, a live event happening in 2 days on the 24th, and then a follow-up event in March in London that we'd love to have you attend if you can across the world. We've had people from all over the world joining us today. I want to thank you and take the opportunity again and welcome you to a very informative and great presentation. Thank you, and God bless everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day and evening, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.